What up, what up, what up? It's your boy JB coming right back at you, man. Welcome back to the channel. It's Stephen A, the new Skip Bayless. Now, the reason I asked y'all that question, man, on the Monday episode, Stephen A. Smith, along with Shannon Sharp and Paul Feinbaum, Stephen A. took a take on the Deion Sanders and Denver Post situation with the journalist Sean Keller. And Stephen A. appeared to side with Sean Keller, and he decided to come out against the way Deion is handling the media. And I gotta tell y'all, man, I think Stephen A is out of pocket on this, and this is the second time that it happened. I did a video where Stephen A came out against Deion Sanders, and he didn't like that Deion was doing the Deion and flashing his wrist and all that with his watch. And I think Stephen A, guys, is out of pocket on this one. You know, as a business owner, I always talk about identity versus role, right? And one of the things you're gonna find is this guy from the Denver Post is coming personally at Deion, and you want Deion to still talk to him. Why is Deion being told to take the high road, but the people who are doing the dirt is not being told to take the high road? First of all, I think Colorado made the right decision, because typically on this channel, I'm team Deion, but I'm also team Stephen A. Smith, except for this one, guys. Deion has every right not to answer one question from this guy. You calling him deposition Deion now. You calling him the Bruce Lee of BS, right? You're calling him all these personal names. And guys, I got to tell you, we're here to do a role. We're not here to go back and forth with each other personally. So I don't have a problem with Deion doing this. But the reason I'm saying that Stephen A, the next Skip Bayless, is because Stephen A is completely wrong on his take. And I'm going to tell y'all why I think Stephen A got a problem with Deion. It ain't got nothing to do with this Denver Post columnist. Stephen A don't even know him. And I get tired of Stephen A still trying to act like he's a columnist when he's the top paid guy at ESPN as a debate host. So I know he got to take a polarizing stand. That gets ratings. We all up here for clicks, right? You know, that's how everybody wins on social media. But Stephen A out of pocket for this one. And the reason why I think he out of pocket is Deion liked T.O. more than he liked Stephen A. If y'all remember last season, Stephen A and Shannon Sharp both showed up on private jets, and they came to Boulder and this kind of thing. And Stephen A was doing his Stephen A walkthrough, and clearly Primetime got a better relationship with Shannon Sharp than he does with Stephen A. But Deion got a real good relationship with T.O. And we all know that Stephen A don't like that T.O. got that kind of access at Boulder. And I think Stephen A has this take because he knows Deion is team T.O. T.O. got complete access to Boulder, and he comes in there as a friend of Deion. Stephen A comes in there as an associate of Deion. And I think Stephen A was completely wrong on this, because I think Colorado was right to come out and bag Deion. And we gotta stop coming at Deion like this because you got a problem with him personally. Look, the team floundered at the end of the year. They lost a bunch of games at the end of the year. But you can't question why Deion would do this. This guy, you can't publish hit pieces and still think you're going to get access to me. I got to protect myself from you. And I love how Deion Sanders Jr. on Twitter responded to First Take's clip. He said, clearly y'all hadn't done any research on this. And I know Stephen A got to get ratings, and I think Stephen A going to get worse until there's an official announcement that he got the $25 million that he wanted from ESPN. But Stephen A is mad at Deion because my opinion is Stephen A got a problem with T.O. And T.O. is team Deion, and Deion is team T.O. But here's what I know. Stephen A better not show up in Boulder unless he coming to apologize. Because you were welcomed into that Boulder setting last year when everybody was there. Deion welcomed you, gave you access to the field, treated you like royalty, and now you taking the side of the guy that's the reporter who's taking personal shots at Deion. And again, the deposition Deion, don't do that with Shiloh's case, man. At the end of the day, Shiloh was a minor. That should be off limits to every reporter. That should be off limits to everybody unless you supporting Shiloh, because he was a minor. If Shiloh were to commit murder at 14 or 15, they have to decide if he's going to be charged as an adult, because there's just certain ways you deal with kids. And I think Stephen A is out of pocket on this one. I think Stephen A needs to issue an apology because he's doing Skip Bayless type things, but I'm not surprised. as Skip Bayless got bigger and bigger, Skip Bayless had to start doing takes like this on people like LeBron James. Stephen A could have easily come out and said, don't take personal shots. And that was pretty much Shannon Sharp's take, which is, hey, you can criticize me on my work on the field. And if y'all watch Well Off Media, and if you watch some of the things that are showing what Deion is doing on the field, and I get you may not like the religious takes, you may not like the Kirk Franklin playing something about his name Jesus and all that. I get that. You can criticize that, but you can't criticize the man personally for not dealing with a person who's taking repeated shots. It's not like this was the first time. This guy been doing this, and I'm glad Colorado came out and shut it down. I'm glad Bucky from Well Off Media posted yesterday about Steve Spurrier doing the same thing. And nobody had a problem when Steve Spurrier did it when he was at South Carolina. And I think Stephen A is about to isolate himself. And I get it, man. Get your money. But if your money gonna come at the expense of losing your access to some of these places where you got good relationships and these guys are proud that you're a black man that's doing your thing at ESPN and that kind of thing, you can get the money, but it ain't gonna last long. And what Stephen A got to realize is he completely wrong on this take. And I appreciate Dan Orlovsky on Get Up doing the same thing by saying, hey, look, man, I got a problem with it. And this is what happened with T.O. and Stephen A. Because Stephen A. tried to do a take, and T.O. said, hey, look, man, Mac's more blacker than you. And I'm not trying to say stick up with somebody because they black or anything like that. But this guy at Denver Post has clearly crossed the line. And if Stephen A. don't call it out, and if Stephen A. enables it, he's only going to get worse. So I appreciate, man, the fact that Deion got his supporters. You can criticize him about his results, but don't sit there and say a 4-8 coach became a 3-9 coach today. How you gonna change my record, right? You can't tell me I'm losing more because I don't deal with you. Stephen A. stepped out of pocket on this, and if he ain't careful, he gonna be just like Skip Bayless. Nobody wants to listen to him. Nobody wants to actually hear his take because it's just so asinine that you can't even deal with it. And I think that right now Stephen A. needs to issue an apology. And if you didn't call Deion, because one of the things Stephen A. says is call me before you gonna blast me. If you didn't call Deion and let Deion know you were gonna take this take, man, don't put standards on me that you ain't putting on yourself. You done attacked Shador now, and now you done came out. And I know it's because of the T.O. thing. Again, that's my opinion, guys. Right? Like, if you go back, Deion and T.O. got a good relationship, and I think Stephen A. hates it. And I think Stephen A. is taking it out on Deion because Stephen A. wanted Deion to choose him. Because with what's happening in Boulder, guys, the same excitement is there. Deion is doing a good job of keeping his program relevant, just like Stephen A. is trying to keep First Take relevant. The difference is I ain't heard Deion attack anybody publicly. And even when he attacked this guy, he said, I just don't want to deal with you. I don't know why you do what you do to me, but I just don't want to deal with you. Stephen A. could have easily taken a different path. And when I see Paul Feinbaum, who's the biggest hater out there, Deion wouldn't dare do that to Nick Saban. Biggest hater of Deion agreeing with Stephen A. Stephen A. is on his way to Skip Bayless territory if he ain't already there. And I like Stephen A. But, man, his takes right now are getting outrageous. And I know he in contract negotiations and probably got to say a lot of stuff. But there ain't no way he could look at this situation objectively and take the side of Sean Keller. Because I look at it objectively, and Deion didn't do nothing wrong. I don't mess with anybody who mess with me personally. You can come at me the way I run my businesses, but if you come at me personally, we ain't got nothing to talk about. I'm glad Colorado came out. I'm glad Bucky came out and did what he did on Twitter. And again, I know Stephen A. is getting hit, and he deserves every bit of it. And while he doing his contract negotiations and gonna say the things that ESPN want him to say or hating on Deion and that kind of thing, he can do it. But it's gonna come at a cost, man. Y'all get down in the conversation. Let me know what y'all think about Stephen A., man. Was he on point with what he said about Deion? Is he the new Skip Bayless, man? And look, is Jeff crazy or is Jeff on to something, man? If you hadn't already, make sure you mash that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn that bell for notifications. And until next time, we gonna holler.